Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a quick process video showing you how to make something out of your scraps of paper left over after doing a couple of projects. So what I have here is my two projects that I've already made for the design team out of my design team project collection or package. I have the Life is Beautiful 12 by 12 scraps. This is what I have left here, and then I had a sheet of the My Colors in Frosty Pink. I've already cut it down, but these are the two projects I've already made, two pretty good sized projects. The first one was the Trapper Keeper, or also I call it the Crafter Keeper, that I designed and used this paper collection for. Love how this turned out. And then also I made this photo folio out of the same paper collection as what I had left over. So those are the two projects that I've done so far. You'll find the tutorial for both of those here on my channel. And so I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this, so just stay tuned. Here's what I ended up making in this video, in the process video, which is a process of my brain and how I think, and using up scraps to create these two cute little folder inserts that you can make out of scraps and then insert them into your, these will fit in the photo folio that I designed out of the same paper. So you could make these for any albums. You could also use them as attachments on a page if you wanted to. That you would glue it down here and glue this down here, and then you can fold them out. So I'm going to show you real quick this first one that I made using the scraps. It's a little folder. It just opens down this way. It's got some vellum in it here, like a little photo mat. Then you have a tag here at the top that comes out. And then we have the vellum here that just lifts up. You could put a photo under there, and it has a tab. So it's just a simple little folder like that. Kept it really flat without any thick embellishments or anything on it, so it can tuck inside a pocket. So here's the other one. It is finished on the front like this, held closed with a paper clip. Finish the back like that. So this one you just undo it. I had to add on some elements here. I did some vellum with some mats, so you could do a photo here. This folds back. Got some tuck spots here, and then also we've got a pocket here with a photo mat in there. So that is the folder inserts that I designed and created out of scraps of paper. These are a lot of fun to make. I have set my bag of scraps aside. That is the Life is Beautiful exclusive paper collection from Country Craft Creations. I've set those aside, and I've taken the one sheet of the 12 by 12 My Colors in Frosty Pink, and I cut it in half, so I have two pieces that are 6 by 12. And what I'm going to make is folder inserts to go inside either the notebook or into the photo folio, whichever one they'll fit. And so you can do this with any paper collection that you have scraps left over. You need one sheet of cardstock if you want to make two. So for every two that you make, you need one full size of 12 by 12 cardstock. So after I cut them, the first thing we're going to make two different styles. So take your scoreboard, put the 12-inch in at the top. And this first one I'm going to score at 2. I've already done mine. I'm just showing you so that you can see what I've done. And at 7. And then we fold and we burnish those. So they burnish this in on the side into itself. And I want the frosty texture on the outside. So that is a folder there. Of course, we're going to do some punching and creating it into pockets and adding patterned paper. The second one, which is the other style, you put your 12-inch at the top, and you're going to score evenly into 3 sections. So you would score at 4 and at 8. And then, of course, fold and burnish. And again, I want the frosty texture on the outside. So there's another folder, and we're going to do fun things with that. So we can put the scoreboard away, and we're going to need our corner rounder and the envelope punch board. If you don't have that, you can use a large circle punch to create notches for your folder. So let's take this one first. So this is the way I'm going to make the folder. Open down, and this is going to become a pocket here. So but before we do that, I want to make a notch here. So I'm going to put this fold line, the score line in at, let's see, let's do a ½ inch, 1.5. Put the mark here on 1.5, and I'm going to punch. Then I'm going to flip it over and put it at 1.5 again and punch. So now I have this funny looking notch in here that I need to cut away. So I'm going to take my trimmer here, and you can use a mat and a craft knife too, but I'm just going to line this little dip into the valley of the track there where the cut happens. Okay, make sure it's in there, and then I'm going to bring this over and just cut that little notch out. You can feel it when the blade stops. And then, of course, I didn't catch it right there good, but I can still snip that with my scissors. Just like that. So that makes that little notch there for my pocket. Trim that off a little bit. There we go. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way for right now. Now then, we're going to take a piece of patterned paper. Kind of got a little snag there. I don't want that on there. And we're going to just mat this top part here. So let's grab your scraps and see what you have. It's a border. I don't want to use that. That might work inside here where you can see some. So I'm just going to trim this down because I want to conserve my scraps as much as possible. So I only have about, what, 1.5 inches here. And that's going to cover that inside there. So let's take our glue. Oops. And I'm going to put glue on this piece. And then we're going to center this with this opened up pretty evenly. Just make sure you get all your glue wiped up. So this is going to seal up to make a pocket. So I want to put glue along this bottom left edge. And then on the inside here along this side, right along the fold line. We're going to seal this up and burnish it. Okay, so that makes a pocket here on this end like that. So just make sure it's burnished really good. And so then this will fold up like this. And now we can add some patterned paper. So that's really all we have to do to that. So let's see what kind of scraps we've got here. I'm going to fold this up. Okay, so I need about, I'm going to make it work, whatever border. I'll cut it at 3 3/4 and see how that works. We've got the length 3 3/4. And that's going to glue right there. It's a bigger margin around than I normally use, but like I said, we're working with scraps, so we're going to do whatever we need to do to cover an area, so sometimes we have a bigger border than we normally do. So this is going to go right here. Now I've done folders in the past. I think I have a video showing you how to make a folder for your inserts, but thought these would be fun to make with this collection. So we burnished that. I kind of got it off just a little bit. Let's see if I can peel it up real quick before everything sticks down, and scoot it just a little bit. I didn't have it quite even on each end. That's better there. Burnish that down. That, then we open it up. So we're going to have a paper here. So I have this one. So I want to cut it about the same. So it's 3 3/4 by, let's do 5 3/4. 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So let's open this up. 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, so that's going to go right here in this section. I hope I have enough scraps to work on the other one as well. We shall see. I may have to do some piecing. So this is going to go right here. Make sure it's even on both edges here. That, so we need one on the back, and then we need one in here. So let's see what all we got. Okay, so I found a couple of more pieces here. Trim this one down to the same size. I'm going to put it on the outside. Now I was going to round these corners, but forgot. So I'm just going to leave it square. Hopefully I'll remember on the other one. So let's put this one on the back side. So the front and the back are going to match. Okay, so this one's going to go here on this pocket. So we're going to have to do our notch again. So let's see. Needs to punch. This is where I always mess things up here. Mark it here and mark it here. See what that measurement is. So it was 1.5, so that's 1 inch. Let's see. Fingers crossed. I'm going to put it at 1. I can make it. I don't know. We'll see. Turn it over and punch at 1. Now then, I need to cut the inside piece away. No, that's not right. Oh, okay. Do you know what? I'm going to go with it because I don't want to mess it up. I don't have much paper. I'm just going to cut right there. So I should have gone the other way. But I'm just going to have a bigger margin there. And I'm okay with that. That looks okay. We'll make do. May do another piece of paper there or something. For now, we're going to put this on. Okay, so I have seen these folders types before, and I've seen vellum paper added into them, which I thought was really, really pretty on them. So we may do something like that. We're going to need a tag in here. So let me see what all I've got to decorate this up with, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone through the scraps. I found this butterfly border piece, and I'm going to put this on the front, and then I trim it down with my scissors. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this one. So you just have to go through your scraps and see what you've got that are left over. And I'm going to bring it all the way to the edge of the folder. Line it up right there, straight, and then flip it over and then just trim this end off. Okay. And then I have this other strip that was from the border, but I cut it down to smaller because I had cut out a notch. It was an odd shaped scrap. So this is about a 1/2 inch or 3/8 of an inch strip. Same thing. I'm just going to layer it up here. Get it on straight. I like that little bit of flowers showing. Flip it over and just trim that off. And then this one here, I need to trim a little bit. Okay. So there's that. Then from this piece here, I had a small piece and I used a large scallop punch, 2-inch, and I just punched that out. I'm going to put that right there on the front to decorate that up because I don't have many elements to decorate with. So glue that right there. It makes it really pretty. Okay, so then on the inside, we open it up. The same pattern here, I had a scrap. I repunched it so it was 1 3/8. That's what it needed to be. So I'm going to glue that on to fix that where I punched it out wrong. Just to show you how if you make a mistake on something, you can do some layering to fix it. You don't want to waste the whole project, right? So I'm going to line this up. So it brings it like that. Then I'm going to bring in this print here from the front. So I've cut a piece here to fit right there. Okay, and so remember I said I had seen them before with vellum, and I think it just really adds to it. So I have some vellum in my scrap. So I cut a piece to fit this right here. I'm going to put some glue on just the top edge, then a line of glue, and then I take my fingers and just kind of rub it across to kind of smooth that out. But I am going to cover it up anyway, but that's how, if you don't want to cover it up, that you could hide your glue. So rub that on. Cut this little piece here that's going to go right here on the top of it, like that. Okay, so it's just kind of loose here. You can flip it up. You can put something under there. I like how that turned out. Then I want to add a tab. So let's see if I can find what I did with my tab punch. Had one cut. It looks like I've lost it. So I may have to repunch one. Okay, hang on. Okay, so it was under my trimmer. So this is the one that I punched out. I used the envelope punch board and just, it would be the center that you might cut out, but I made a little tab. It's about 2 1/8 long, and I'm just going to glue it to make a tab for my folder. I'm going to glue it underneath the vellum. So put some glue on just the bottom part. I'm going to attach it right here, kind of sticking up like that. Maybe want it down a little bit further. Have to see how it looks and then reposition it. Okay, right there. Let's try that one. Yes. So there's our little folder, decorated up with its tab. There's the back side. There's the inside. It's just that simple. So that's how you make this one. We'll do the other one next, and then I'll show you where you could tuck it into your folio or your trapper keeper. Okay, so I forgot to make the tag here for this pocket. So I'm going to measure this to see what I need. I need about a 5 3/4 tall. Yeah, 5 3/4 tall will work by 3 1/4 wide. 3 1/4 wide. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a scrap of my colors cardstock, and I think I will use the green. I had a piece here. Let me grab that real quick. I had left. So hold on for just a second while I dig through my scraps here on my other table. Okay, so I have this one. I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to make it 3 1/4. Oops. I cut it a little straighter than that. Okay, 3 1/4. And then the height will be 5 3/4. So that should fit into that pocket with just a bit sticking out. Okay, so I'm going to check it and make sure it does fit before I do the tag shape. So sorry, I'm off camera. I'm just playing around with it in the pocket to see if that's the way I like it. So I think that's going to work. Okay, so I'm going to next round the bottom corners, but before I do that, I'm looking for a scrap of paper that I want to use on the tag and cut that down. I'm just seeing, I'm kind of auditioning which ones I want. I don't have any of the stripe here in this folder, so the length would work, but I don't think I would like it on there. So keep looking. I'm just off camera over here on my other side table digging. So I like this with the hearts. I think maybe that one's going to be the one. So I'm going to trim this down to 2 7/8 wide. I'm just cutting a little bit on each side so that I do have some of the heart left down there at the bottom. Okay, and then the height will be about 5 1/8. So that's going to work. So I'm just checking to see how that looks. And then next I'm going to round the corners and make my angle top cut. To get the angle of the pattern paper, I'm going to lay it down where I want it to go. And then I'm going to cut one side here at an angle. I'm going to get in my distance here. Okay. I think that's going to look fine. Okay. Then I'm going to take this sample, this other piece here. So this, make sure I'm cutting it the right way. So there's that one. I'm going to flip it over. And I want to cut this one the same. Okay. So then that's going to glue down right like that. And I know it has more of a margin around it because my scrap is smaller, but I think it's going to look okay. So I'm going to glue this down. My glue bottle going here. I have been lazy and haven't cleaned out my silicone tip that looks like a baby bottle nipple to use it. So I've been using these perfect, can't remember what they're called. They are available from Country Craft Creations unless they're sold out. I've had mine for a while and just forgot about them. So I pulled them out to use them until I clean that other tip out. I like this one also, but I also like the silicone. Okay, so now we have that. Now this, we want to take a circle punch, and I may use a pretty good size one because this is pretty big. I'm going to punch a circle out of a scrap. See, I think I'll use, don't want to use a really big one, so I'm going to use this right here, like that. Now that's going to glue right there, okay? And then we'll punch the hole for the tag. That, and then grab my hole punch and use the big size and push this so that I can get it all the way in and eyeball it in the center and punch. So there's my reinforced tag hole punch. So this matches the tab, and so this goes in like that. And you can push it in as far as you want so that it sticks out a little bit. Now you might want a piece of patterned paper on the back here. So I'm going to lay this here. I'll line it up about where I want it. And then I'm going to cut. And I'm going to cut that down a little smaller. Hopefully this will work. Get those angles, and then I'm just going to cut straight across. Okay, and just glue this up above just a little bit on the back to finish that little lip of it off, so it has some patterned paper on the back. I know that looks a little strange. You could cover the whole back if you have enough scraps, but I want scraps to use on that other one. So done it this way, and now when I put it in, push it almost the way in, and see on the back we have that patterned paper like that. So now if you want to add a ribbon, you can. So let's see what we've got. We've got the yellow. I think I'm going to go with the yellow seam binding ribbon. And I'm going to thread that through. Got a loop. Then I'm going to pull these two tails through that loop and then pull. Tighten that up. And to secure it, I'm going to tie it in another knot. Like that. And then I'm going to trim the ends off. Actually, I'm going to tie them in a knot because the seam binding ribbon, it will fray out. So I tend to tie mine in a knot to keep that from happening. At least let it fray just up to the knot. That. And tie this one. Trim that off. Now then, I didn't crinkle it up before I tied it on, so if I want to get it a little wet, I just spritz some water in my hand and then kind of just lightly dab that ribbon in there. So it's not overly saturated, but it will wrinkle it up. Just kind of white it up, just like that. And that gives you that vintagey, crinkled up look. So that goes in there, just like that. Now I have that little piece of vellum left, like that. Kind of like that. I'm going to put that in there. So I'm going to put vellum just lightly on the edges. I mean glue, not vellum. What did I say? And then I rub it with my fingers to spread it out, so it's not a glob of glue under there, because if it's too thick, it's going to show. So I just kind of smooth it out. Still sticky, and the art glitter glue usually dries clear, so then we're going to stick this down kind of centered from side to side. Whoops. Right over a little more. Okay, like that. Then press it down and burnish so it will glue down. And there is our little folder with a tag in it, our little file folder. So now we're ready to work on the other one and get it finished. And so this will insert into one of the albums. Love how it turned out. So let's get to work on the next one. So this folder insert's a really simple one, but before I put the pattern paper, I'm going to do a 1/2-inch punch on each corner of the shortest flap right here. And we're just going to start patterning this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've cut paper to fit right here. So this piece is 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. Everything's going to be 5 1/2 tall. So I'm going to punch the corners on this. And this is going to go right here. Okay, so I need to get a little nub right here from where I punched. So I'm just going to sand a little bit off right there. Kind of clean it up. And on this side. Okay, let's glue this one down. It's going to go right here. Center it top to bottom. That. And then my next piece is going to be this on the back side. Same width, which is, what would I say, 1 3/4. So we punch the 2 corners for the flap. I'm keeping this really simple. It's not going to have any magnets or anything. If you want to add a ribbon around it to tie, well, you could do that. Or if you wanted to put the magnet in, you would do that before you add any patterned paper. So let's get this one on. Just like that. Okay. Now then in here, I have this full piece. And it's 5 1/2 tall by 4 1/2 wide. Okay, so that would be pretty too. But I'm going to go ahead and use this little check. I really like that little check. I've used it a lot. I used it a lot in the Trapper Keeper, which I have used this collection for 2 other projects that I showed you at the first, I think. The Trapper Keeper and the Photo Folio. So those are on my channel. Okay, burnish that in. Okay, so here on this, close this up, on this piece here, I'm going to put this one, which is a scrap that I had. It's 5 1/2 by 4. So put that down first. And like I said, I'm just using scraps that are left over from doing those other two projects with the one collection pack. Okay. And I cut a scrap of this to fit in here. So it's the 5.5, and I think it's 5/8. Yeah, 5/8. So we'll glue that on. So I went through my scraps and I pieced all these together and decided what I was going to do, and I forgot to do the back. So if I have anything that will work on the back, I'll find that. So I'm going to make a pocket here. So this piece is 5.5 tall by 3 3/8 wide. I did use a 1 1/4 inch circle punch and made that notch in the middle. So this is going to attach down here. And I've just got a plan where I put the other one. So this piece here is the 5.5 tall by 1 3/4 wide. It just happened to be what I had in my scraps. So I'm going to glue this one down first, and then I will put the pocket piece down. So these dragonflies, it's going to come about 1/4 inch from the edge. Hopefully that will work. Yeah. And then on the back side, just on the two ends, this is going to be a flat pocket, and then right across here. And we can just, let's see here, line this up 1/4 inch on the edge here so that you don't see where that one ends. Burnish this down so that makes the pocket, just like that. So now I'm going to look at my scraps, see what I can put on here. But before I do that, I did cut out a piece of the vellum that I had left over that is 4 by 5. And I'm just going to fold this over, and I'm going to glue that on the back side of this flap. Just a little bit on the edge here. Kind of decorate that up. Let's take my fingers and spread that glue out. Okay, so I'm going to lay it down, get my placement, close the flap down. Oops. Make sure it stays in place. Come on. Carefully lift it up. I'll probably have to put some more glue on it. I've just got it there on the edge. So I'm going to lift this up, put some glue here, spread it with my fingers so that it can dry where it doesn't show as much. Push that down. And that just kind of hangs over there, and this lifts up like that, and then we've got the pocket. And I hope this will dry clear where it doesn't show. We'll see. If it doesn't, then I'm going to put a piece of paper over that. Should have put it on before I added my pattern paper, and I didn't think about that. So I'm probably going to cut another piece out of something. Hopefully I have something that will work that height. So let me check all that, and then I'll do that, and then I'll see what I've got for the back. So I found a good sized scrap, cut it down to fit. It is the back of some cut aparts, but that's okay. I'm going to use that. So I cut it 5.5 by 4.5, I think. Double check. 4 3/4 by 5.5. So I'm going to glue this one down. And then while I was rummaging through my scraps, I found my little baggie of cut aparts. that I forgot that I still had some left. I had thought that I might, and then I forgot to look for them, so I did that whole folio album without those. That's okay. I'm going to use it here on this. So I've got that. Okay. That's the back. Very pretty. Flip it over where the vellum is here on the inside. I found this smaller piece of the hearts, cut it 5.5 tall, and it is 1.5 wide. So I rounded the 2 corners and I sandwiched it over the vellum and left that little bit of border right there. So I really like that. So this opens up, so we got the pocket. So let's take a look at these. That bag of cut aparts that I forgot that I still had. And see what we might want to put on this. So I'm going to burnish that down to make it lay down a little bit. Beauty is inside. See, I had used that on something. So I like that. I'm going to cut this. I had glued it down and then cut it off. So let me fussy cut that out or off. I had trimmed that off there. And then I will probably take some kind of heavy button or metal thing to help weight this down some. So I'm just going to decide. So that back side shows through the vellum. I don't like that. Let's see what else we got. All you need is the white showing. Just need something smaller. Underneath here, all you need is love. That's pretty. And then this is be always blooming. It needs to go the other direction. Good things take time. I don't like that. I like that because it goes with the hearts. All you need is love. And I'm going to put it right in there behind that vellum. Like that. It's kind of pretty. You could put a photo there if you wanted to. And then this, I will probably do a paper clip. So I bought these vintage looking gold. They're not really vintage. They're just the brassy gold, the old gold paper clip. And I think I will use that just to hold this down like that. And you could put a decorative piece on there if you wanted to. And then on the back, I like this. Life is beautiful. Put that on there. Show the back here. And then it's gonna, maybe I'll put that over here to hold that vellum down. My vellum got kind of bent because I ran over part of it with my chair the other day. So I'm trying to fold that down. So I'll put it in something I think it'll flatten down. I'm going to put that like that. That's kind of pretty. And haven't added anything here. I just don't think it would look right. So I'm just going to leave it this way. I could put some flowers on it, but I don't want it thick. I want it to where it can slide into an album or the folio. So these I saved because I'm going to put them in a safe place because I'll be using this collection again, even though I have just scraps right now. So I made 3 different, well, actually 4 if you count these each as 2 projects with this collection. I love how that one turned out. And I would kind of like to have something on this, but I just don't know what. So it's kind of pretty with just the vellum, or you could leave the vellum off if you don't like that and use a magnet or a ribbon closure. So that may be what it needs is a ribbon closure across that. And what did I do with those cut aparts? Do I have any that is shaped alike? I'm just rambling here. Ramble, ramble. Do this sometimes. I really like that. These inside. Kindness. They just don't match up. If I had some journaling cards or something, that would work like that. So that might work. So I've already put this on there. I did it like that. These are the others. Da, da, da. Okay, I'm going to take a stub punch. Oops, that's not it. This is a stub punch and punch the corners of this. This is just so totally random here. Glue this down. And I'm going to put that one on there. Things take time. And I'm just going to take my paper clip. Now then, got a pocket in there. I haven't put anything in the pocket. That's okay because that's a great place for photos, other photo mats. You could take one of your scraps here and just make something for the inside. Photo mat or tag. I'm just going to trim this down a little bit to make it not so big and square. And then I'm going to stub punch it. That's a corner around it. Let's corner around it. Okay, grab the wrong one. It's okay. So I'm going to open this up and show you where that goes. So this just undoes like that, open it up. And then you can just like slide this in there. Should fit. If not, I'm going to trim it down just a little bit. Should have measured it because of the pocket, the glue of the pocket. So you'll have to adjust that. So that goes like that. Oh, that works fine. Okay, like that. Then we've got some more cut parts here. Be always blooming. And grace. Kindness counts. I like this. Don't lose yourself in your fear. I'm going to make that a tuck spot because you could put a photo in there. So like just glue a little bit on the bottom, kind of right there, kind of center it. So that makes a tuck spot like that. Whoops, am I still on camera? And this one, the same thing. Believe you can. You can do it at the top. Let's do it at the top. We'll put some glue on the top edge. And then you could tuck something underneath that if you wanted to. Just glue that on. Okay, center it, burnish that down. Let's see, you could put a photo up in there like that, or tag. So that, oh, that shows now. Ah, I didn't think about that. Terrible, terrible. I'm going to have to put something over that one. Oh, man. So let's measure that. I'm glad I saw that real quick. Okay, so we need something that's, let's say 2.5 by 3 1/4. 2.5 by 3 1/4. I don't know if I want that one. I'll go with this. 2.5 wide. Boy, this was totally unplanned. So you're going to look at the process of my brain working when I'm designing something without having any plans. Stub punch. Okay. It's kind of like the way I do a prototype. You just work on it and figure out all the ins and outs of it before you actually share it. It's going to fit right there. So glue on this and figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work before you actually do the one for the video. But this is a process video showing you what I kind of do to just create off the cuff, I guess you would say, off the fly. But I really wanted that vellum in there, and I think it's pretty. So there we have it like that. So you could put a photo there. Okay. So that is this folder insert. So we have the two. And I'll do an intro video with these. So thank you so much for watching, following along as I do my thought process and do a process creation of some projects using up your scraps that you can also use. Let me show you. I think these will go flat enough to go in here, like in the pockets, like right there. You could put one in there. And then we have the other pocket over here. You could put one in if you wanted to, just like that. So that would work in your photo folio if they're flat enough. Trapper Keeper, I am not so sure. I don't think I've got any pockets deep enough for that, so I'm not going to attempt that. So anyway, as I was saying, I want to thank you so much for following along with my process thinking, creating video. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, like. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell when you do so you'll know when my next video is uploaded. And as always, shop countrycraftcreations.com for these beautiful My Colors cardstock. For the exclusive paper collections, this one is The Life is Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.